It's just 11 minutes past 9 a.m. Thank you so much for still watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda, and welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra with me, Sharon Chomjisha. Today in studio we're about to discuss university politics. Now, studies on global students' politics have shown that universities are institutions where different political views compete to win influence. These institutions are meant to nurture democratic politics through discourse. However, with the changing times, politics, as commonly referred to as a dirty game, involves money and life, leading us to thinking about abolishing the political parties in these universities or even maintaining them, because history has sort of shown that there's so much that is coming with political parties playing a role, or even people involved, leaders involved in political parties playing a role in whether it's violence or so many things that are attached to these elections, and how we've seen them move from intellectual conversations to sort of getting into violence. And recently we had a student at Makerere University who lost his life. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Mr. Betungura Bewate, 27-year-old UCU student that went to support his friend and ended up losing his life. In studio with me is Ms. Alupo Masi, Chambuga University Deputy Prime Minister, with Mr. Emmanuel Nahamia, NRM Chairperson, Makerere University. A very good morning and good to see you.
Happy to see you too.
We just came from Sorority elections.
Yes.
Which political party are you? Clearly, NRM, the sun is shining.
I'm obviously of FDC. Yes.
How was it for you?
Well, as FDC, I can say we're really so happy, because whatever transpired was something that was so physical, and irrespective of whether we were announced the winners or not, I must say we are at the hearts of the people, and therefore it is a win for us as FDC. Yes.
Mr. Chairperson, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much. Of course, to our side, it was a success.
Of course.
And I want to congratulate our brother, Herbert Ariko, for having made it to Parliament. And I think, to my understanding, God has chosen him to lead the Sorority East people, and he will deliver services as we have always done in NRM.
Interesting. Well, congratulations to Mr. Ariko, winner of Sorority East elections.
Yes.
NRM, yes. Now, you are students, right?
Yes.
Makerere University representative today and FDC. Recently, we just had the Makerere elections.
Yes.
There were actually campaigns.
Yes.
And elections were supposed to happen on a Friday, but then on a Thursday, it became so brutal that a student died.
Yes.
Yes, remarks on that or something to say about that.
Thank you so much. Allow me first to introduce myself to the viewers, and Good Morning Uganda Extra. I want to thank people who are watching Good Morning Uganda Extra. I want to thank all Makererians. I want to greet all Makererians watching live Good Morning Uganda Extra. So our language is that we either win or they use. And the Makerere, being the one of the top universities in Africa, has had elections for several times. Of recent, we had 86 or 88th guild elections going to happen, but unfortunately, they didn't. And I would like to sympathize with the family of Betungura Bewate, whom they seemed to be the future of the family, but unfortunately he couldn't. We are so sorry for that, and I surely sympathize with the UCU fraternity for having lost such a young and brilliant man, because at his age, he was meant to deliver services to the country, and he was meant to build a strong Uganda, as we have advocated for. NRM, the nature of politics at Makerere of recent was that we had several political parties taking part in the election. Among, we had the NRM party with Hussein Ibra as our candidate, and our campaigning theme was to negotiate with whatever situation, because we had seen the recent regimes not performing, and we decided to negotiate because we advocate for peace automatically.
What do you mean non-performing?
And
recent regimes being that for the past about, because COVID-19 happened,
yes,
we weren't having students lead, but for the past 2 years almost into leadership have been the National Unity Platform candidate.
Yes.
Yes.
When I joined the Makerere, I joined in 2018, and that's when NUP came in with the Excellency Gate President, who was Katerega Julius by that time.
Yes.
When he came in,
very brutal election as well.
Yes, very brutal, because I remember there were a lot of vow. I can read, you can read, but at the end of it all, the man took it. But when you took it, people and students expected a lot, because he had promised that he would change what had been there by that time, because it was the first time that NUP was coming in institutions of running. So when he promised and people expected a lot, the second regime went for COVID-19. From there, we picked up another NUP candidate. From there, another NUP candidate.
And even the recent election,
yes,
the NUP candidate seemed to take the forefront, and he looked like he was going to win the election.
Not really, okay. Not really. If you had watched what was happening at Makerere, we had done it all, and to my expectation, NRM was leading. And if the election was to happen, and if it is to happen even today, NRM would take it. You can ask me why, and automatically I can reply.
Before we go to that, let's have her say something.
Well, I can say that the institutional politics of late is driven by the heart.
What was it driven by then?
Way back, it was ideologies that mattered.
Intellectual prowess.
Yes.
Yes.
But today you find that people are driven by the heart, and these are youth.
Sorry, heart meaning what, Miss Alupo? Is it emotions over facts and ideologies? What we can do, is it just about emotions?
It is basically emotions. For example, if it is a political party, there are people who are like, I am an FDC diehard, so I have to do anything for FDC. Irrespective of whether the person who has come under FDC actually has the ideologies or not. Today, many people are driven by finances. Yes, we can't blame them, because these are youth and the economy is obviously bad. And I must say they are benchmarking, or we are benchmarking from our elders. Because you find that when we're in the holiday, when it's time for campaigns, we are actually the people in the villages doing the work. So if there is an MP who is coming, we have this thing, I am the one who can do that. So you go to the MP, they give you some little money, they tip you off, and you're like, yes, you feel you are pro in that. So when it comes to the university as well, you find that we are the very people, and the tactics we use in the home areas are the same tactics we bring here.
Where would students then get the money from, and all these incentives that you're talking about in the elections?
Well, they do this because I believe people have lost what they call selflessness. People are now selfish. So I believe it is survival for the fittest, and that is why people do all these things. the spirit of brotherhood has died, especially amongst us, the youth. So that is why it is survival for the fittest.
Okay. So you're saying that the election looked like you were the ones winning?
Definitely. No doubt about it. Because we had done it all, and we had negotiated for most of the things to happen, including the physical election that had not happened after the COVID-19.
That was because
pandemic.
of COVID-19. So you having a campaign or campaigns going on
Yes.
doesn't really mean that you've done something. You've done something that is geared towards the elections, having leadership, which is supposed to be every single year. How is that an achievement?
Yes, the achievement is that the candidate we had brought, that is Hussein Ibra, first of all, he has been serving in 87th Guild as the GRC of his hall, as the minister, social affairs minister. He managed to prepare a freshers' ball, which almost covered half of the campus. That is 20,000 students of the campus, and the students enjoyed. Of course, we are not at campus just to study and run away, but we are there to socialize, to see whom can I run to after the campus, after campus life, and where can I get what. So that's why I can say we had delivered what we wanted to deliver, and we are looking up to deliver to the next stage, that is the guild presidency. So if someone manages and brings up something which is a bit unique, that has never happened, it means that at least we are delivering the leadership that the Makerelian would wish to see in future, that the future Makerelians would wish to find Makerere at another level.
Okay, I'll just get into maybe another question.
Yes.
When the elections were halted because of the death of one student, and we don't take that lightly, actually it happens to be that even in the times of the newly constitutional Justice Norbert Mao, actually 2 students were killed in that election as well. So this is not something that just happened. Tragedy, but has always sort of happened, or there's a history sort of repeating itself. When it was halted, what did that mean for you people who were part of the elections? Well, she's from Chambogo, but I mean, you're still a part of FDC, which had a candidate fronted for the elections.
First of all, according to me, of course, it was not time for that, because the way people had prepared for that election, the way people had spent for that election, it's not the way people could have treated it. First of all, people had prepared to vote their best candidates, and unfortunately, we had a loss in that. So according to me, it was not its time, and according to students that believe in democracy, of course, one of the core principles of NRM is democracy. And in democracy can only and only be there when there is leadership, transfer of power. So, for example, like right now, I've not transited to the next generation of leadership, and I'm in my final year. So, to me, it was
So was
not
that for all the
called for.
Elections?
Yes, all the elections. And as people who have always followed politics, of course, on NRM camp, we didn't feel good for our brothers to be in the situation, and at the same time, we felt bad because we saw time had come to restore the glory of Makerere. And first of all, my question would be, my question would be posed to, not to political parties, of course, but to people who are responsible to be in the election. For example, when you look at a person like me, who has always wished to be, who has always been inspired by the national chairperson, NRM, that is Yoweri Kaguta Tuvagwa Museveni, I cannot separate myself from the party when I go to stand for the election. Our candidate is the leader, male councillor in Jinja State. So which means when he comes to Makerere, of course he has to attach himself to the party. Me, being part of the voting circle that is above 18, it means that at the national politics, I have to participate by voting. So when I vote, I still have to follow up to vote, to be in the same party I voted for in the institution. So that one was not called for, and it was not its time. Yes, we had to make sure that the police continues to investigate, but the election be there, let the election be there as the police investigates. Because it's not, it was not our, we should not put a blame game of saying, the police didn't protect. Yes, the police tried its level best. And you cannot say the administration then to the student. So the students themselves had prepared and they had tried to be somehow peaceful, organized, because when you look at our camp, we are protected by students. We didn't entertain police to escort us to. So at least I see students this time round we are very, very well organized to take over the election.
Okay, maybe Miss Mercy, what do you have to say about that? I understand you're from Chambogo, but what was the cost of halting the election?
Well, personally...
And was it necessary or
yes,
for?
It was.
Okay.
Yes, as a Lupo, I stand by my word and I say it was necessary to hold those elections because we had to honor the lost soul.
For how long?
Yes?
For how long?
For us, as a Lupo, I do believe it is not a matter of time, but after you've honored the lost soul, then they should, the university or the people responsible for that would now get to bring these elections back when they are ready, when they have put measures, sustainable measures.
Aren't you sort of opening up? You know, sometimes you put up something that sort of opens up a door for other possibilities. So what if then actually that becomes no more political parties and elections whenever we want? Because one of the things I've had some students actually argue, I was actually at Makerere University, but I've had some students argue that the mere fact that you're saying the elections should be halted, why are they, for example, during the the elections that we just had, the national elections, presidency and all that, how many people lost their lives? Was anything halted? We still continued with the elections and people are voted into power.
Yes.
No. Yes, we believe in honoring, but then till when, maybe?
No, you see, when we talk about our politics at the national level, and the politics at the institution level, those are two different things. However, the fact that we are all Ugandans and we are above 18, we are all adults. And according to the, I don't think there is any political party that has among its constitution that says that anyone who is at the university should not belong to a party. There is none.
Because we already have a multi-party system
yes.
that is operating.
Yes. So that literally means, one, the political parties cannot be banned, or they should not.
But are you aware that there's some universities that actually do not, well, they shouldn't be banned, but they do not allow, and sort of an infringement of these political parties to infiltrate the politics at universities like Islamic University and GCU?
Yes, those universities are like that because I must say they are private universities, not like us, the public
ones. Yes.
These are public universities, so like there is this energy that these people have from the public institutions. For example, if I'm to say Makerere and Kyambogo, yes, Makerere is way older than Kyambogo, but there is this hype. Yes, when they look at people like Norbert Mao, they're like, oh, we've also made it, like the fact that he's an alumni of our, you see? So there is this weird excitement we have, let me use that word. We have weird excitement as youth. And when it comes to the political parties, that brings me back to what I said initially. We are driven with our hearts.
Emotions.
We are so emotional. So that is why I will even laugh at my brother here when he said that as NRM, they are democratic. That was so sarcastic of him. You get? So I believe as institutions, we need to bring a culture, because you find when the year ones just join, allow me benchmark from Makerere. As interacting with some colleagues there, they're like, for them, in their orientation, one, they are first taught terms like wewe.
Yes.
True.
Yeah. So and there is a way that slogan triggers everyone.
And you also just said Makerere Oye.
Yes. So
Automatically.
it is
That is
automatic.
culture.
So those are the simple terms, because if you're moving and you just say we,
Strike.
that's already a strike. That is just a term. It is so obvious. So as an institute, I would actually advise the universities in my small capacity. As the universities, they need to come up with measures. Yes, however much we love our parties, let us not be driven by our hearts. Let's not be driven by emotions. And to my fellow youth outside there, we need not to take the parties as a big thing. Because at the end of the day, I believe the only party we would associate with is our generation. Say, for instance, Norbert Mao. Allow me to use him because he's the most recent figure we can have around. So, you find that Norbert Mao having that agreement, I won't blame him. Because
FDC. That's interesting coming from you, but okay.
Yes, because that is his generation.
Okay.
Yes, because we've seen the struggle DP has been through, and I don't think they are vibrant youth to push on the party. So there is no one that Norbert Mao can run back to. But because he has people of his generation, His Excellency, he runs back there because that is his generation. So my brother here, yes, you're NRM, I am FDC. But at the end of the day, we are going to be employing ourselves. So parties are not a big thing. However, the generation is our brand.
So do you believe that actually political parties should be banned from universities?
No.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe they should. They should. Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
My thought would be the political parties, of course, cannot be banned, most especially in institutions of higher learning. Yes, they can be banned in secondary schools.
We don't actually have them in secondary schools.
So because the argument was that they should be
maybe
banned in
colors
schools.
Representing, because we already have.
So, according to me, the political parties, you cannot avoid political parties. And you cannot avoid political parties if you still want to have people like Right Honorable Todong, the former speaker of Makerere University, You cannot, Honorable Dombo Emmanuel, the former Guild President of Makerere, now in NRM, the Right Honorable Speaker Thomas Tayebwa, who participated in elections of Makerere, the Sarah Kajingos of time, the Oraro Tunu, the Nombat Mau, the Oranya, the Rumshana, name them. So you cannot, because political parties are spaces to nurture young leaders. Taking example of NRM. NRM in Makerere is not there just to call it NRM, but we have tried our level best to make sure that we bring back people like Nobat Mau, people like Right Honorable Speaker, to make sure that they talk to students, because most of students just believe that if Nobat Mau did it, why can't I also join the same range?
For inspiration, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
So, for example, I cannot separate myself from NRM, even when I go anywhere, at any post, because even when I was standing as the GRC, people could name me NRM, because there is the way I could feel His Excellency, I could feel my party chairperson. For example, when I take you back, when I joined in first year at Makerere, we had orientation. We went to school orientation, and one of it was, of course, to teach us how to pray way. The second thing is to teach you that at Makerere University, we even have political parties. So someone who told us that they had political parties was from UID. So I directly went back home, and I got inspired by the chairperson of NRM in my district. So when I got inspired, at first I had two things to accomplish at the university in terms of leadership. One was to become the GRC, and later to hold a ministerial post or to serve in the EC. So when I came back from to the second year, I had two things. I just cancelled one. The EC, I just said, you can. So I said now, there is the way I feel Museveni with NRM has pushed this country, and I should also join these people. So I said, from here, he wants to be the GRC. From the GRC, I become the NRM chairperson.
Did you ever become GRC?
I did.
Did you become NRM chairperson?
Yes, right, I'm now NRM chairperson.
Okay.
So you see, it was part of my dream and my inspiration.
Because of the political parties?
Yes, because of the political parties. So when I joined in, and up to now, I'm still being inspired by these people. Talk of the chairperson, Anziri Sedraka is my mentor as of now. So at least I cannot separate myself with political parties. So what
we can't abolish them.
Yes?
We can't even think about
we can't even think about hurting them out, because they will do a lot. You see, university is like a training ground. It's not just academic. Yes, it's not just academic. That's why we normally have career guidance. We normally have the internships, because at the university, you are in the internship of being a leader in your region. And that's why I have no doubt that in 2026, most of the young people at the university, most especially Makerere, will come as MPs in the next. We have seen many. Katerega was the Guild President, but is now serving as the councillor in the community. So in the next, Anna Deke was the Guild President, but is now the MP. Okot Benefits had contested for the Guild President on the side of NRM ticket, and now he's the youth MP. Talk of Roy Gumayo, so you cannot. sincerely speaking, you cannot.
Okay. Now, there's been also an argument that halting these elections, for example, we've come from a period, 2018 to now, that National Unity Platform candidates have been the one taking over in Makerere University and maybe some other universities. And that now when you have even this one that they were about to take, the election was halted, but of course there was a death involved. But then is it really that the emerging political parties, you know, are sort of threatening the strongholds, the likes of UPCs, the likes of, you talked about how Norbert Mao and the likes, they're a certain generation. Then you also go to FDC and maybe there's a certain generation, or NRM, and now the likes of National Unity Platform, which seem to be the most popular. You know, that these are now threatening the strongholds in these universities. So sort of even taking out or thinking about eradicating political parties in these universities sort of works for the reigning regime. What do you have to say about that?
Well, thank you so much. My belief has been too much sensitization, too much of sensitization to the fact that I reached the point of starting up a sensitization NGO to make sure that the young people of today have to be transferred to the young people of tomorrow. For example, when you look at these politics, we have emerged with politics of self-interests, politics of do or die, politics of vow pteo. If I don't become this, I will not manage. And I'm proudly happy for our senior, Norbert Mao, for what he has done, because I'm very happy with President Museveni for what he has done to incorporate Norbert Mao, because this shows us a sign of unity. We have preached over and over in NRM. So when Museveni preaches unity and goes ahead to call his opposition side to join him, it means that he's practicing what he's preaching. So people like me who will be following him, automatically I will not kill my sister from FDC, for example. What I can only do is to make sure that I preach to you and you just join me, we form a party. We develop Uganda, because where Uganda has reached now.
But for example, you're talking about forming parties, but we're talking about actually how one of the things that NRM is trying the president has even talked about doing is to make sure that there's no opposition by 2026. So how are you talking about forming parties? No,
forming parties doesn't mean that you do have opposition. Forming parties are there to nurture people. For example, if I may say, if DP was meant to nurture young people, they would start up leadership training centers.
But you're not in their camp, so you don't know what they're doing.
Yes. So, first of all, to my view, the political party is there to mentor people and at least develop the nation.
Which many of them do.
So developing the nation doesn't mean that we are not going to work together. Yes, you might be a Catholic and I'm a Protestant, but we reach on the ground and we say constitutionally, since we want to advocate for transparency and law, you can work with me.
Let me go to
what Museveni did was to call on Norbert Mao, because he had seen him as one of the outstanding people that would help him in the ministry, but not to call off the opposition not to be there.
Mercy, I'll ask you about what you think about the emerging political parties. For example, NUP being one of the, I think the youngest now.
Yeah.
Is that a threat, you know, to these universities, or even halting these elections? Does that mean that actually it sort of helps them? The ruling regime is sort of given a hand in what to do to sort of walk away with making sure that there's limitations on which emerging political parties or who joins what or who joins where, coming from even a point of view where you say DP and the mindset.
Well, for that, I must say, when we are to talk about our brothers and sisters from NOP, the NOP party, I must say I'm really happy for them because these are youth. You find that because of the generational difference, there are some limitations in the parties. Okay, for us in FDC, we have the Youth League, so that is where we actually belong. But I will not mention, there are some parties that actually, the ones they term as the elderly people are the ones who get the biggest share of everything. When it comes to tabling and discussing issues, the youth are usually left out. The youth are actually involved in things of going to campaign. There they really facilitate them, and do this. But when it comes to productivity, they are left out, and you find that these are the engines of the generation. So when we have parties like NOP, it is not, okay, yes, it is a threat to them because actually their time is up. I must
Whose time
say.
is up?
Their time is up. Yeah. The generations, the parties are there basically for identity. My brother said the parties are there for inspiration, which is true. I can also sit back and I'm like, Uganda is my, you have that pride because you've at least met him and you've interacted with him because you identify yourselves as FDC. However, if I'm to deceive anyone that I've ever met, any other, maybe if Honorable Uganda was not in FDC, I wouldn't identify with him. So because of these parties, we are able to identify with one another. So yeah, these parties should remain. They shouldn't be taken anywhere. However, if our fathers of NRM, if they would actually have opportunity for the young ones, yes, leave alone these issues of, yes, we are going to give scholarships, we are going to do this, we are going to do this. There is a sense of ownership if I am into the system. But if I am just there for public impression, I feel I am being used. So when we have parties like NOP and FDC that actually give opportunity to their youth to actually own and embrace, there we are on the right track. Now, if we are to talk still about the parties, you find that there is gender inequality. I would want to ask my brother from Makerere, how many female guild presidents have you had?
According to the question you posed, it's about gender, yes.
How many have you had? Just give us the number of female guild presidents. Then we can move into what you want.
So far, I can push for 3 I've ever met. That is Honorable Sarah Kajingo, Anna Deke, and Shamim Nambasa. Because I'm a very young man, as you can see.
And how old is Makerere?
Makerere is, of course, we are making 100.
You're making 100 years. Yes. So out of the 100 years, and you're only having 3 females, that I would say is being unfair. I'm a community, I do community development and social justice. So that means we look at being just and fair. There is when equity applies, and then there is where equality applies. So for us in Chambogo, we've also had 3 guild presidents, female guild presidents. But you find that Makerere's age is, I think, twice Chambogo's, I think twice and a quarter. So you find that Majority of our ladies at the university also do not get opportunity because of the parties. I'm now giving the other side of the existence of parties. Majority of the ladies are not given opportunity because in majority of these parties they believe that it is the men who have the ideologies.
But in a time where equality is such a big factor, and we've seen the fact that if, for example, we want a candidate to represent NRM,
Yes.
and everyone is given the opportunity to please come forth
True.
and stand.
True.
If women do not want to come up, or ladies, how is that an issue then? And then leading up to how many presidents or guild presidents that we've had as females. For example, are you into politics?
Yes.
What are you standing for, or what have you been previously?
Well, in Chambogo?
Yes.
In Chambogo, apparently I'm the deputy prime minister. I'm the deputy guild prime minister.
Why aren't you the guild
Yes.
president?
Why aren't I the guild president? It is because during the time of elections, I was in year 1. So it is, let me say, a rule, a guideline. Year 1s cannot.
Which year are you now?
I'm in year 2.
Oh,
So are you going to
are you going
stand?
to stand to become guild president? Would you want that, or you still want? Because we've also seen where many of them are gentlemen, the presidents, the guild presidents are men, and then vice president or the other positions then sort of have women emerging into those positions. Yes.
Yes, I would, obviously. And I am coming. Chambogo, I am coming.
And again, if I could come in, we have seen people expressing interests to stand. Let's say, for example, in Makerere, we had over 11 candidates expressing their interests to become the guild president. And we didn't see a lady contesting to become the guild president. The time Numbers Shamim contested to become the guild president, we gave her the vote. So you cannot tell me that we don't have equality, yet you are not standing.
No.
For example, now in Chambogo, the recent election of your guild president, you had, I think, you didn't have a lady who is a candidate still. So
No.
how do you expect us to lift you up?
That is where my point comes in. Because of the parties, I can assure you we had ladies who had come. But you find that these ladies were actually told that let the men go because politics is for men.
But then you can be independent.
True.
Yes, they can, but now because of the politics of today where I said people are all selfish, now if I come as an independent person, if I came as one, the burden will be on me, I'm a student. But because of the change in the political world, people will need money.
Change in the political world being that actually one of the things that now happens is that once a woman sort of steps up for something, she has a higher chance of winning or even taking over because of the fact that we have less women in this position. So please advocate and vote for this person into leadership.
Woman emancipation has played a big role. However, it has done in the outside. But when you come to the institutions, majority of these people are still, okay, woman emancipation has not gone deep into the institutional
Because
level.
then you wonder why you still have 3 candidates that
Yes.
were once guild presidents and female. You see, what did they do that they're not doing now? What did they have that women do not have now to stand?
No, there is.
So when it comes to equality in political parties, I understand, but you also have an option that if you haven't been chosen by a political party, for example, they think it's a game of men, like you
Yes,
said,
yes.
then become independent and stand and let the people choose who they want.
But the emotions that I told you about initially, people are driven by emotions. So as a lady, one, by virtue of fact that you're a lady, most people think we are vulnerable by nature.
Not anymore.
Not really.
I've said most. Yes. Most people actually believe we are vulnerable by nature. However, I must admit that women of today are very strong people. So if a lady really comes out, Chambogo, if ladies come up, we shall support our ladies.
Now, we'll just go to another question, and I think we're a bit behind on time, but when you look at the foundation of students' politics in the 80s, early 80s, early 70s, and then when we started to trickle down into the late 90s and the 2000s, in the early 80s and the 70s and all, you saw that it was about intellectual prowess. We're discussing about issues that are affecting students. How do we come from this? And right now, actually, someone was talking about how hooliganism is one of those terms that can be attached to Makerere University, Chambogo University, and other public universities because of how they act and behave during the elections. It's literally do or die. I was at Makerere University, and actually at some point I never wanted to participate in elections because of how brutal it would become, that people would be beaten by students, by whichever comes and all that, and you don't want to attach or even be a part of such. Why do you think we've moved from actually addressing and trying to see how to address issues that affect the students, that affect all the stakeholders in the universities, to now it's really who has money, then become the person who is taking lead in a political party, and then who has the biggest team or the biggest crowd. That's how you have students moving from UCU or whichever campus or university to come and be a part, because we've sort of shifted from our values. Now numbers make more sense, money makes more sense. Inspiration is beautiful, but now who has more inspiration, or who has more people coming up from leadership? Do I have Nobat Mao? Do I have Olaro Tunu? Do I have, you know? Why do you think we've sort of moved from that, taking care of people and being selfless, to a selfish country? So selfish leadership, I'll start with you.
Yes, for me, I would say
you look so excited for this question.
Yes, I'm very excited for this question. You see, I would want to benchmark from what our president said when he said majority of the Ugandans.
Which president? President of Uganda?
Yeah, the president of Uganda.
Okay.
He said majority of the Ugandans are depressed. So I believe the reason as to why majority of these things come up, the root cause is oppression.
Depression, oppression?
Oppression.
Okay.
Many Ugandans are oppressed and frustrated. You look at the economy, it is so bad. You go to campus, lectures are like lectures. You do not have time to do certain things. Even when you want to do certain things, you cannot do because of reasons A, B, C, D. So politics is a bed of frustration, I must say. My brother, due to my frustration, you can't even be so innocent. I begin propaganda from nowhere, because maybe coming up with propaganda is a way of making me feel I am strong enough or recover from my frustration and what. So I shift my frustration to him. So politics is just a bed of frustration where everyone, and there is no policy that actually handles such issues.
Because how are you going to detect oppression, really?
There is no.
Yeah.
So literally, these things all happen because of the frustration that Ugandans have. Ugandans at large, not only. But for us at the institutional level, I must say for us in Chambogo, our politics are usually calm compared to in Chambogo. It's you hardly hear that someone has been. You never hear that in Chambogo. So I believe the problem is with our brothers of Makerere. They have their, but for us in Chambogo, it is calm.
Emma, why do you think we have moved from addressing and talking about issues that affect students to now being selfish and not caring about students' welfare and really about, am I the one who is taking leadership? Yeah. Everyone then will bow to me or think about me as a big person, or I'm eyeing a certain seat in 2025. Yes.
Of course, when you look at it, I first take you back to the Makerere of 1986, 84, Makerere of Nobat Mao addressing His Excellency the President of Uganda. Of recent, I saw a clip trying to advise him on the policies to take, trying to advise his fellow Makererians to participate in society changes, in community changes, to fight HIV AIDS, to fight immorality, to fight homosexuality. I put you to the Soweto uprising, which made Africans to have freedom, a bit of freedom. I now bring you back to Makerere of today, whereby the election is halted, and of course we all have to keep quiet. The environment is not good. We also have to keep quiet. The halls of residence are not looking so calm. We also have to keep quiet. This is because it's not about frustration, but it's about how we are brought up. First of all, by our parents. Secondly, by our mentors. Thirdly, by the people we inspire to be. For example, if you see, if I inspire to be like, of course I will overuse His Excellency because he's the one I always look up to.
I probably meet him one day.
Yes. Yeah. So as someone who changed Uganda, not because he had wanted this because he's a Munyankore, this because he's in NUP, because he's UPC, just because he wanted to restore Uganda. And that was because by the time Museveni started his young generation journey, he would visit people like Nelson Mandela to just get knowledge from them. He would move from here to Nyerere just to get knowledge. How do you do this? Someone moves from here to Robert Mugabe to see how are you feeling for Africa, because one of the people that really loved Africa is Robert Mugabe, because he died in his country. People like Gaddafi, he loved Africa. Those people, he just used them just to matter him. So the solution to this is leadership trainings. For example, if we could look at Kenya, Kenya has a lot of leadership trainings. Of recent, I got a chance to go to Kenya for a leadership training, but COVID came in. We have seen leadership trainings in Chankwazi prepared by the party.
Oh, that's for everyone?
For everyone, whether opposition or what and what. I've attended several workshops prepared by the party. So when I go to such a workshop, I can't come the same way I'd just gone. So we just need to make sure that we train these young people. We just need to make sure that these young people see us as people they would inspire to be. For example, if His Excellency can sit and listen to the opposition, it means he's a listening person. So I would also practice leadership of listening.
I don't think we're out of people to really be to inspire us. I don't think we don't have leaders that have sort of come out to show their prowess when it comes to leadership.
Definitely.
You still haven't sort of answered my questions, but also because we're time bound, we will actually have to end there. We're discussing and trying to find out. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Mercy, for coming through. I hope you get through. You're going to stand for elections, right?
Yes.
Chambogo. Do you do Chambogo Oye or? You don't do Chambogo Oye, you don't like Makerere, yes. Now, thank you so much to everyone that tuned in today morning to be a part of this lovely conversation about political parties in universities. Should they be abolished? An election was halted in Makerere University, even because of a student dying. Should that continue being the case? What's happening after that? All this we've been discussing. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sharon Chomjisha. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
National Cancer